All right, so everybody has in front of them then your next test. So I want to go over it, but I don't want to sit and read to you. All right, as it says, it has to have a minimum of 4 screens. A splash screen of your own design, a main screen with a recycler view on it. Kind of like what we just did, a thing to show a single employee. So if you tap on it, you got the on-click listener, so you've got that. And an add or modify employee. All right? And as it says, 1/3 of your grade is going to be on how you design this. All right, your individual design and what we're going to do, not today, not tomorrow, probably not next week, but probably the week after that is we're going to end up submitting this to the Google Play Store. All right? And it says, I have shown possible wireframes. Mine are unbelievably simplistic. Yours shouldn't look anything like this. All right, you must also add a 2-level menu, and I put a thing in there. Adding a 2-level menu, a multi-level, isn't hard. All right, and I did link up to a YouTube video on it. No, I'm not done this one. I usually do all yours before I assign them, but I've not done this. You can see the rubric on the bottom of the page, and just to quickly go over it, it shouldn't have any errors or warnings in it. All right? It should use sound logic. In other words, it should be well constructed. You shouldn't be repeating code. You shouldn't do things, it should be at least somewhat documented, etc. It follows activity design specs. So in other words, you made at least the 4 activities. All right? The app is unique. In other words, it's your own individual design. It contains the multi-level menu, and it's been submitted to the Play Store. So if you look on the back of the first page, I just literally marked this up in a wireframe. Yours does not have to look a bit like this. I centered the stuff on the page and put an Add New Employee button there. To me, it does make sense if you're going to have an Add New Employee to put that near the top of the page as opposed to the bottom where it could get lost. But if you decide that there's another way that you want to set this up, then go for it. All right? And again, I centered this stuff. If you say, it looks terrible, I want it left justified, then left justify it. I don't care. If you want the picture on each page, like we did with the blues, then do that. Either way is fine. All right? However you want to do that is fine. Then if you look on the very bottom of this page, this is what the menu should look like. So you should have a thing in there that says employee search, and then underneath it, it would be an all employees last name, and an all employee, in ascending and descending, and then a department search. All right, where you do the department ascending and the department descending. Again, I have not done this one. So if you do run into tons of trouble, then you'll have to let me know. Then on the second page, this is what an individual employee should look like. Again, I just mocked it up. I literally spent 5 minutes mocking it up. If you say this is ugly as hell, mine ain't going to look like that, that's okay. Make it look the way you want it to look. So again, that is the show current employee page. And then finally on the back of the second page, this is if you want to edit one. Very similar to what we just did in the president one, okay? So you should have an ID set up for it. You should have a first name, a last name, a department, and some kind of an image URL. Now for that image URL, that's probably just going to link back to the project itself. Does that make sense? You'll put it in your drawable folder. Does everybody understand what I just said? Now, let's put it this way. The pictures haven't been rolling in. All right, I did send it out a couple days ago. I've gotten 3 so far. And I thought there was going to be 26, but I think there's going to be 28 because I didn't include the afternoon guy who does the security, and I'd like to put Joy in there too, who's our custodian, because she works harder than anybody in this place. So if they're amicable to that, so there'd be 28. And like I said, on the first page, I just showed there being, 8 on there. You could have, depending on how you set it up, you might have more, you might have less on there. By no means should you have 28 on one screen. Does all that make sense? Does anybody need anything repeated? Is there anything that anybody doesn't understand? All right, tomorrow I'm going to go over material design with you. All right, we're just going to go over probably in 1 to 2 hours. We're going to go over Unit 5 in the PDF. I'll have more to say on it then on Friday's class, but not much. Most of Friday will be lab. And then let's just see where it goes from there. By Monday of next week, you're going to have your next assignment. And it's what it's going to be, just so you know. It's going to be going back to 2 of your existing programs and setting up styles and themes for them and utilizing material design concepts. So it shouldn't be where it's going to take you hour upon hour, because you're going to go back and you're just going to be, like I said, setting up styles. So all buttons look like this, all edit text look like this, etc. And themes, where you put a bunch of your styles together. Does that make sense? So in other words, we're trying to make this look nicer. All right? Then in the next 2 chapters, I think I've told you this already, that chapter 6, I think it is on testing. We're going to go over that quickly. All right? And then chapter 7 is on async and await. You may or may not remember that from the AWD1112 class, and I don't know how much we went over it, but we did a little last semester. Not much. All right, but we've talked a little bit about async and await before. And I don't know what we're going to do. I'm going to combine 6 and 7 together. All right? And then 8 we're skipping. It's on alarms and scheduling. And then when we get to 9 is kind of, we're going to do 2 things with databases. We're going to do an SQLite project. SQLite is the built-in database that comes with Android. It's very, very minimal. There's only a few data types you can have. So we'll do a project and I'll give you an assignment. And then for chapter 10, we're going to go into Room, which is another way of doing databases. And we'll do a project with that and I'll give you an assignment. But then sprinkle in there is going to be this final project that you'll have to work on. All right, so that's what you've got to look forward to, if you call it that. Today is day 34. So if you do the math, I believe it's next Thursday is day 40. So after next Thursday, we're halfway through. And by that time, we'll have gone over at least 5 lessons. All right, so we're doing really good as far as that goes. And like I said, with 6 and 7, they're going to go real fast. I may not even give you homework on that. All right, I don't think that'd break anybody's heart. So, all right, so that's it. Any questions?